morning, everyone. My name is Dave Whiteley. I'm Technical Director of Envisageukltd, and I'd like to take this opportunity to show you Inventor Publisher from Autodesk. We'll just run through a few slides. The idea of Inventor Publisher is to explain and differentiate your ideas, designs and products, whether on your PC or a portable device. Where can we use Inventor Publisher? Well, technical publications of any sort, really, assembly instructions all the way through to marketing materials. The idea is that you do not need to have Inventor to run Publisher. This can run on a separate computer. So if another department or another user wishes to create publications, he or she can do from Inventor Publisher without having Inventor on their computer. Current documentation challenges. Text-based documentation is cumbersome and unclear. Documentation teams are disconnected from engineering data, and documentation is time-consuming to create and can slow time to market. So what does Inventor Publisher do? Well, it imports 3D CAD models. Updates are associated with the changes to the model. You author exactly the views and appearances and animated sequences that you require. And then you publish. You publish to a wide range of interactive, animated or static formats. We can read in most popular 3D CAD formats into Inventor Publisher. And this enables you to bring in or append models from subcontractors, for instance, where they may use another system or want to supply you with another format. If you use Inventor, updates are associative with the changes to Autodesk Inventor. We can create compelling documentation within Publisher. We can quickly and easily communicate detailed process steps from any viewpoint. We can deliver high-impact results out to documentation such as Word, PowerPoint, Adobe PDF. The PDF, by the way, can be output in 3D PDF as well. We can output in images such as PNG, JPEG, GIF and bitmap. We can produce animations to Flash and AVI, or interactive outputs between the Autodesk formats of DWF and DWFX. You can explain your products visually. You can easily turn your 3D data into an interactive storyboard with step-by-step control for things such as appearances, camera angles, animation timings, arrows, detail views, text descriptions, and so on, bills of materials and parts lists as well. We can publish to mobile devices. We can give technicians and sales teams and marketing teams and also customers the information they need on mobile devices such as iPods, iPads, and other mobile Android devices as well. We can create parts lists and balloon the assemblies. And we can dimension in the new release, both in 3D and 2D dimensions. We can section, half sections, three-quarter sections, and so on. We can define hatch patterns for these. We can add arrows, detail views, bills of material tables. And just to recap, we can read in these CAD formats from other systems as well. In the new release, there is an add-in for Microsoft Word. So as well as being able to publish to Word from within Publisher, we can also run an application within Word which reads in the Inventor Publisher file, and then from there we can drag and drop the snapshot images from a toolbar onto our Word document. Okay, let's have a look at the software. So I've got a simple assembly opened up in Inventor. I've got it open in Inventor because I'm going to change it later. The Inventor doesn't, as I said earlier, it doesn't have to be on the machine. So let's have a look at Publisher. Okay, so with Publisher, I need to insert my model. So I'll bring in the Arbor Press assembly. This converts the Inventor model to Inventor Publisher format, because if you imagine it reads in other CAD formats as well, so it has to convert into a common format the publisher uses. So it takes a few seconds to take the Inventor model and convert that to a format that publisher understands. Let's change the style. We have a number of styles available to us. I'm going to use basic shading. But you'll also notice that there is a rectangle on the screen because I've just maximized my publisher. The actual publish area is too small at the moment because I've just maximized my screen. If I go to this edit command here, I can change the size of the publish area for my display. So as long as my model or the parts of my model are inside this rectangle, these will then get published out to all the various formats that we'll be looking at later. Okay, let's just turn this around and start working with Publisher. Okay, I probably want to start off with a full display of the model. Now, the important thing with Publisher is to understand, first of all, how it all works with the mouse. And from then on, I'm going to hopefully give you some tips and tricks on how to use Publisher. It uses the new marking menu, which is this menu at the top here. The idea is that you can just gesture with your mouse just by leaving the right mouse button down and gesturing in the direction in which the command is, and that runs that particular command. I actually ran new snapshots because the way Publisher works is it actually works with snapshots, and as I create snapshots, they're added to the bottom of the screen here. The one with the corners highlighted is the actual snapshot I'm in at the moment. Whatever the condition of the display is, and this is very important, but whatever condition the display is at when you create your snapshot and leave the snapshot, that is what is remembered in the snapshot view. So if I were to go to that view, for instance, the snapshot remembers that view. If I go to the middle snapshot here, just by double-clicking on it and change the orientation in some way, that's remembered in that snapshot. So if I go back to the first one, second one, the third one, you can see what's happening. Now, if I want to now move this to an isometric view, I must first create a new snapshot. This is important because it's the new snapshot that has this view in it. Okay, so we've now moved to isometric. Now what I'm going to do again is create another new snapshot, and this time zoom in a little bit to the front of the design here, and we're going to start exploding this. Now you can do this either from selecting components on the screen, or you can go to the assembly and select the components from the assembly. So for instance, I could use the Shift key to select all my hexagon socket head cap screw bolts. On the right mouse click, I can then do one of two things. I can either do a manual explode or remove. The difference is that if I've got more than one component selected, say it's a nested assembly or components bolted into something else, and I use manual explode, that will pull them apart by different distances. With move, that will move everything I've selected in one go, in one direction, and in one distance. So for instance, if I were to select a number of components, I'm using the Control key to select more. Right-click and use Manual Explode. You will see I get an arrow where the hand symbol is, where I can just literally drag that, and it pulls apart the components by different distances. So that's what the Manual Explode does. Now in this case, if I just do a Control Z to undo this, in this instance I just want to take the socket head screws, move these, so I'll just use move, and I get the triad that we see quite a lot in Inventor especially, where I can either select one of the arrows or one of the arcs. If I select an arrow, it will move it linearly. If I select one of the arc segments, it will rotate by an angle. So in this case, I just want to move these by a distance. If I right-click, I've got options available to me. And be aware, it's just like Inventor, where it's important to right-click to see what options you have available when you're having to play with Publisher before you actually start using it in anger. For instance, in this instance, I can put trail visibility on. So it actually show the trails between the fasteners and the components. Again, remembering to go onto a new snapshot to start working with other parts of the design. Let's move the plate now. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, move the plate, set the plate and the grub screws. We'll move these. Okay, again, a new snapshot. But in this case, on the new snapshot, I also want to, let's take another one as well, why not, add a call out to this, because it's important that when the operator on this, who's disassembling this machine, takes this plate off, the operator must remember not to remove the grub screws. They stay as part of this plate. So for instance, we could add a call out here. This gives us an annotation ribbon along the top of the screen where we can change things such as the call out shape, the fill color. Obviously then we can go in and edit the text. And we may also want to highlight the grub screws. So if I select these and go up to Style, we can choose a style that may emphasize these fasteners, these grub screws as well. So we can do this sort of thing. Okay, now I want to move on to another snapshot, but I want to remove the annotation because that needs to go in my next snapshot. And I would also probably want to change the grub screws back to the normal the normal shaded view. I can do one of two things. I could start a new snapshot, and then in the browser here on the left-hand side, go into annotations, and actually you click on the light bulb for the call out, and that turns the call out off. So, and that works with all the assemblies and parts as well. You just have to click on the light bulb. Anybody who uses other software from Autodesk, such as Fusion, same sort of thing. You click on the light bulb to turn it on and off, as you would in a layer in AutoCAD, for instance. All I would need to do now is just to select these two fasteners and change the style back to the basic shading. The other thing I could have done was actually taken a copy of an earlier snapshot and pasted it. And that pastes it after the active snapshot, and that would have done the same thing. So an earlier snapshot can actually be copied and pasted to after a snapshot that you're working on, and that would put it back to the original position as well, if you wanted to do it that way. Okay, let's have a look at some other functions in this. So, remembering not to do a view change until you create a new snapshot. And let's have a look at sectioning. So, what we've got to do here is choose what section you want, whether it's a 3/4 section or a section on a face. I'm going to select a face and just section along the front of this part here, and click on Done, and that changes my section. I can then perhaps add a new snapshot, zoom in so they can see what the detail looks like, new snapshot, perhaps zoom out, new snapshot, and then even here we can turn off the visibility of the section planes. Right, what else can we add? I may want to add an arrow to show how this Tommy bar mechanism works. So all I've got to do is choose a circular arrow, place it on the screen somewhere. Do that again. Go around that way. Right click on it Now what we can do here is we've got grips here so we can resize it. But also, whoops, we can take this and align. So I'm going to align it with this circle here. I'll also change the fill colour. And there we've got our arrow. Now to align it, I selected the circle. Later on, when we use a line, I'm going to, because what I want to do next is actually want to move this, the whole of the Tommy bar mechanism here. And I'm going to use the move command. So let's first of all create a new snapshot. Let's turn off the display of the arrow. We don't want to see that anymore. And now I'm going to use the move command. Now I get asked this a lot in Publisher. How do I rotate something? Now to move, it's easy. You select something and you move it linearly. But to actually rotate something, it's important to select, in this case, because I want to rotate around this cylindrical part here, select this part first. So the first part you select is what the rotate uses to center itself on. I'll show you in a second. Then using the control key, I'm just going to select other parts. Do that again. The other parts that I want to move. Right click, use move, and it centers the triad on the first component that I selected. Now what I can do is rotate that and comfortably know that that's going to rotate around the center of the parts that I selected. New snapshot, and off we go again. So now what we've got is a storyboard containing many snapshots, which I can double click on, as you can see, to go to that particular storyboard. But if I play this, let's start at the beginning, and right click and play, it will play through the storyboard presentation. And it will automatically iterate between views, between storyboards. You'll notice that leader comes up far too quick to warn me about not taking the grub screws out. So what we're going to do is exit the presentation. And down the bottom here, we've got all the snapshots, one by one, all in the correct order. If I right-click on the storyboard, I can put on the display of timings, and I can put on the display of descriptions. And what that now does is it shifts this list of storyboards up slightly, so I've got an edit box underneath, but it also gives me some times. These are quarter second by default along here. Now, this one where the leader comes up to state that we don't want to delete or remove the grub screws, perhaps I want that to stay there for, say, 4 seconds. So I can adjust the time that the display is up on the screen, the snapshot is up on the screen. And also there's a transition duration as well. So we've got a 1 second transition duration between snapshots that we can alter should we wish to increase the time between transitions of 2 snapshots. The other thing we can do whilst we're in a particular snapshot is we can put a description down here which is accessible when we publish out to documents. So if you've got this in a text file somewhere, you can copy and paste, or you can type it in laboriously like me, but probably have the text somewhere that you can copy and paste from. Let's just say this is the Arbor Press. Okay. And that's our, turn off the timing and descriptions. That's our Arbor Press presentation done. Let's just play that one last time. If you don't want any of these slides, you just either turn their visibility off or delete them. You can also turn the visibility of parts and assemblies off in snapshots as well. You may want to hide certain things you can see inside. That can all be done as well. Things that I may have missed, detail views are available to you in Publisher now as well. Okay, so that's the Publisher presentation run. Now let's have a look at this in let's have a look at publishing this out. So we can publish to video, AVI files, etc., WMV as well. We can publish to Autodesk DWF files, to Flash if you want to put these images and animations onto your website. We can publish out to single images. We can publish out to Adobe PDF in both 2D and, importantly, 3D. We can publish out to PowerPoint, to vector graphics, to a mobile device, and to Microsoft Word. What I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to take time to run up Microsoft Word. And in Word, you get installed an Inventor Publisher ribbon, and that enables us to link to our saved document. So let's go ahead and open up our Publisher document. We get a panel bar on the right-hand side, which will give us a list of all the snapshots and any text that I typed in. And as well as that, we've got a tab here that we can click on, which will give us this takes a while to load, give us a list of icons of all the snapshots that are available to us in this Publisher document. Now, whilst that's happening, what I want to do is just go back to my Inventor, because of course things do change. So in this instance, we're going to change the length of this Tommy bar here. Change the length of that extrusion. And save the assembly. Word's still loading up the icons. Okay, so whilst that's happening, we'll go into Publisher. And all we need to do is right-click on the components, go to Source Files, and update all components. And what that will do is that will update the assembly from the Inventor model, shorten the Tommy bar in this case, and update every single snapshot accordingly with this new design change. So if things do change, if you've already created a Publisher document and the Inventor model has to be changed, it's not a problem, because you can update the Inventor, the Publisher document associatively to the Inventor model. Still loading. Okay, one last thing I'd like to do on the Publisher is to show you just quickly the parts list, because we can insert a parts list onto our Publisher page. I've got Create Auto Balloon on as well, so that'll actually balloon as well. Just resize the parts list. Now in this case, I probably don't want the balloons on because I haven't got enough space. It's not a problem, because of course these are called call-outs, the balloons, and all I need to do is click on the light bulb, turn them off. So everything is controllable, the visibility is controllable from these the browser on the left-hand side here, which, unlike Inventor, is sort of transparent above the backdrop of the Publisher, as opposed to a separate panel bar on the left-hand side. No, I don't have a problem with the word. I'll just leave it a second. It does take a while to load. It depends on how many snapshots you've got available to you in Publisher. No, okay. So that's an overview of Inventor Publisher. Thank you very much for your time today. Have a good weekend. And anybody got any questions on Publisher, then please do not hesitate to contact me, and have a good weekend. Thank you very much.